In April 2024, the skies went dark. A total solar eclipse swept across the Earth, and millions witnessed it. But for some, it was more than just a cosmic event. It was a warning, because long before telescopes, satellites, and science, ancient civilizations were tracking the sun. They carved symbols into stone, told stories of sky gods, and recorded eclipses with chilling precision. Many of these ancient cultures spoke of a great solar moment, a moment of reckoning, transformation, or catastrophe. And what they described matches what just happened in 2024. Did they know something we're only just beginning to understand? Scene 1. What actually happened in 2024's solar event? April 8th, 2024. A total solar eclipse cast its shadow across North America, from Mexico through the United States and into Canada. It was one of the longest and most widely observed eclipses in modern history. But it wasn't just the sky that changed that day. Across the globe, unusual patterns were recorded. Solar flares surged from the sun's surface days before the event. Magnetic interference was observed in parts of Europe and Asia. In some regions, birds went silent for hours. GPS signals briefly glitched. Even animals behaved strangely. Some scientists chalked it up to coincidence. Others weren't so sure. Because the 2024 eclipse didn't just mark the temporary disappearance of the sun. It occurred at the peak of what NASA calls Solar Cycle 25, a period of heightened solar activity expected to last until 2025 or 2026. During this phase, the sun becomes more active. Its magnetic poles flip. Sunspots multiply. Solar storms intensify. Power grids have already faced pressure. Satellites have gone offline. And the atmosphere itself is reacting in ways we're only beginning to study. But here's where it gets strange. Many ancient civilizations described the same phenomena centuries ago, and their warnings align with 2024's eclipse in ways that science hasn't yet explained. Scene 2. Ancient civilizations that predicted solar events long before modern science. Ancient civilizations looked to the sky, and they didn't just worship the sun, they tracked it with stunning accuracy. The Maya, for example, built temples precisely aligned to solar events. Their calendar didn't just track time, it tracked cycles of the sun, moon, and even solar eclipses. The Dresden Codex, one of their surviving texts, predicted eclipses centuries in advance. In Egypt, the sun god Ra wasn't just a deity. He was a cosmic force, tied to rebirth, destruction, and periods of darkness. Many temple complexes, like Karnak, were built to align with solar solstices, marking transitions of power and warnings of imbalance. The ancient Chinese court astronomers recorded eclipses as early as 2000 BCE, often linking them to disaster or change in leadership. 2 royal astronomers were once executed for failing to predict an eclipse they believed signaled divine judgment. The Dogon tribe in West Africa spoke of celestial events tied to Sirius, the dog star. They claimed knowledge of invisible stars orbiting Sirius long before scientists confirmed them, and returned with fire. Their oral traditions include stories of sky beings, solar upheavals, and cycles of destruction that begin when the sky turns dark too soon. But spiritual resets. And the Hopi, indigenous to what is now the US, left prophecies warning of a time when the sun will disappear in the sky. To them, eclipses marked not just celestial changes, different cultures, different continents, different languages, but the same theme, that when the sun goes dark, something begins. Scene 3. The symbols and warnings they left behind. If ancient cultures knew about solar events, how did they preserve their warnings? Through symbols, encoded into stones, etched into walls, passed through generations in myth. The Maya spoke of a time called the 5 suns, each ending in catastrophe. One of those endings came when the sun disappeared. They believed each sun cycle ended in destruction and began with solar change. A cosmic reset. In Egypt, the Eye of Ra symbol, often mistaken as purely spiritual, represented cosmic order. When it closed, darkness and chaos were said to follow. The Hopi left spiral symbols on stone. Some interpret them as eclipse cycles or time loops. They warned of a coming purification, where those unprepared would vanish like smoke in the wind. The Dogon created celestial diagrams that matched modern astronomy, but they also described a red companion star, one that brings chaos when it rises again. And in 2024, during the solar eclipse, we saw record solar flare activity. We saw auroras as far south as Texas. We saw interference with power systems and communication networks. Exactly the type of chaos many of these cultures associated with a sun-darkening event. Were they trying to warn us? But about what comes with them, not just about eclipses. Scene 4. Did they predict something beyond the eclipse? Eclipses are predictable. NASA can tell you when the next one will happen down to the second. But what ancient cultures warned about wasn't just the event of an eclipse. It was what might follow. Some Mayan texts speak of a time when the sun will blink, followed by great floods, migrations, and fire in the skies. Today, scientists warn of the real possibility of solar superstorms. Increased solar activity during solar cycle 25 could trigger massive coronal mass ejections, giant eruptions of solar plasma. If one of these strikes Earth, it could knock out satellites, disrupt power grids, collapse GPS systems, crash markets. In 1859, a solar storm known as the Carrington event caused telegraph lines to spark into flame. If that happened today, with our global tech infrastructure, the damage would be catastrophic. So when ancient people warned of the sun darkening, were they speaking of a celestial omen? Or remembering a disaster that actually happened and left scars so deep it echoed in myth? The Hopi warned of a world reset, and some believe we've now entered that window, triggered by the eclipse of 2024. Why did so many ancient civilizations focus on this moment? Why do their warnings mirror the risks we face now? And what if the 2024 solar event wasn't the end, but the beginning of something greater? Final reflection: in 2024, the sky went dark. And for a brief moment, the ancient world and the modern one aligned. A celestial event witnessed by millions, and perhaps anticipated by millions long gone. Were the Mayans, Egyptians, Hopi, and Dogon simply observing nature? Or did they understand something deeper? A cosmic rhythm tied to cycles of transformation, collapse, and rebirth? We've decoded the math. We've mapped the stars. But have we forgotten the meaning? Because while we chase progress, they left us warnings. Not to fear the sun, but to listen to it. Maybe the ancient symbols weren't just stories. Maybe they were survival manuals. We thought we were the first to understand the sky, but maybe we're only remembering. Did ancient cultures predict 2024's solar event? If you believe the past is trying to speak to us, subscribe, because more forgotten truths are still waiting to be uncovered. And sometimes the answers lie not above, but behind us.